Hey, welcome, welcome. Let's see if we got everything working. I hope we do. I hope we do. I made some adjustments and we'll see. We'll see if the show operates. Oh, man. But anyway, I've got a great one for you today. The title of it is Could a Color Revolution Be Coming to America? Because we're going to speculate, because we got lots of speculation happening right now. And frankly, that's the only thing that's good to do. When you don't know what's going to happen, let's just worry about it. Anyway, thanks for joining me. And just as a reminder to the two people that are watching right now, we're on the road to 420. That's right, 420 followers over there on Rumble, rumble.com/coffee-nuance/live. Just bookmark it. But anyway, I'm Tom Coffey at Coffee and Nuance. I'm over there on X and YouTube and Rumble and all the other places. So please follow me at least one other place, because you never know what's going to happen, especially considering what's happening right now in the country. So anyway, I guess let's get to it, shall we? What's up, Lucid? Hey, I hear Mike, but not the sound today. Oh, my goodness. No sound? Okay, that's up. All right. So you got the mic, but not the... Well, we'll see. Just tell me when I come back, when I start on the thing, let me know if the music played when I hit this. Okay. Dystopia, hashtag road to 420. That's right, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. And let's talk about something we all hope is just a bad dream. That's the idea of a color revolution right here in America. Yeah. I know it sounds as likely as a reality star running for president and winning, but hey, it's 2024. We got all kinds of surprises. And they're not all the good kind. So buckle up. This could get wild. This could get wild. So what is a color revolution? I'm trying to cutting off the top of my head. Oh, man. Oh, man. Anyway, what is a color revolution? This is where you get protests, mass media coverage, and slogans that sound like they were all picked from a team of hipsters on Madison Avenue, all designed to make a sitting leader look like he has the brain function of, well, I don't know, Biden. Ironic. You get people in the streets chanting catchy slogans, waving flags, demanding change, all sponsored by some deep-pocketed philanthropists who'd really just like a regime swap. Thank you very much. And here's the part where we have to whisper it. Some folks think if Trump wins in 2024, we might see one of those happen right here in America. It's the same playbook they've used in countries that end in Stan or IA. First, you get the media to act like the election results are suspicious, like they found them hanging out with Epstein or something. Then they push the narrative that democracy's under threat. And boom, next thing you know, Starbucks cups have "Democracy Now" written on them. And the guy who gave up politics for ultimate frisbee, well, he's now back in the game. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just saying, what if? Think about it. Color revolutions are like those relatives you wish wouldn't show up at Thanksgiving, but they pop up everywhere, especially if they have natural resources. Here's how it would work in America. First, we'd see our old friends in the media. They're ready to set the narrative. Say things like, Trump is the first president to blah, 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 or whatever, right? They'll be acting like this election was shady, pushing for endless investigations, getting anyone they can say Trump's win wasn't legitimate. Then right on cue, we'll get hashtags and symbols, maybe a new flag color, slogans like democracy first, or even though the election was technically that, but who's counting? Social media will light up with celebs saying, "It's time to stand up for America." Oh, and half your friends will join marches, and the other half will post about it from the couch. But here's the real showstopper. The headline act would be if this went global. You'd have the UN wagging their finger saying, "America is a threat to democracy." And France would issue a statement condemning our president. The Brits, they'd put out a statement that no one really understood a word of. It's all, and it would all culminate in a massive Netflix docuseries, Revolution USA. Now, let's be clear. I'm not saying this is going to happen. Most of us would love nothing more than a nice, clean election where the loser shakes hand and everybody's back to bickering about Gen Z and NFTs. But we can't ignore the tension in the air, the feeling that something could explode. Here's the kicker. Even if this doesn't happen, if it's just the stuff of dystopian novels and monologues like these, there's something serious we need to think about. How did we get here to a place where the idea of an America torn apart by protests and accusations doesn't sound all that far-fetched? So let's all just hope for peaceful process, because if there's one thing we don't need, it's a revolution of any color. And hey, worst case scenario, I know a great place that rhymes with Texaco Diddy. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffey Nuance Show, the most ignored, censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. Okay, no music, you say. No music. All right, so we got no music. Man, that sucks. Okay, well, we'll try to figure out what we're doing here with that. Okay. Oh, and I didn't have my color revolution. I can't remember more than one thing at a time. So anyway, and I didn't even have the monologue on the screen. I thought that was funny. Color Revolution American Style. I don't know if you remember Love American Style. 70s callback. Never mind. Anyway, I want to talk about the idea of what a color revolution is. This is something that I have been kind of fascinated with for a while. And yeah, so what's the definition? Color revolutions are movements that aim to destabilize a sitting government through a combination of political, psychological, and media tactics. They're characterized by protests, media campaigns that delegitimize the government. That sounds familiar. And the use of symbols and slogans to unite opposition. So examples of this would be the Orange Revolution in Ukraine, right? What happened is our government pumped in $5 billion or so into media organizations and local protest groups, student groups, things like that. And they were able to drum up enough hassle to call into question the election, even though the election over there was totally legitimate. But they had enough rebel rousers, enough people on the payroll to make it appear not the case. They paid a bunch of rock bands, local leaders, local people to kind of keep things going. And eventually, Ukraine was overthrown. And they installed they didn't install, they had a new election, and somehow that election went the other way. And then we got Zelensky, and that's how we ended up giving hundreds of billions of dollars. Over there, and we've got a terrible war where hundreds of thousands of people are dead. This all started from a color revolution paid for by your tax money. But anyway, that is what a color revolution is. So anyway, who's in charge of this? Who would be in charge of this and this is fictitious. I'm just talking. I'm just speculating here. None of this is true, or at least I'm not allowed to say that. But it would be deep state actors, influential figures within the intelligence community, media, political elites. You would have coordination with NGOs, international bodies, providing reports that condemn the abuse and applying international pressure. So we got a number of stages of color revolution to run through, so you understand what is happening. First, we got to craft a narrative of illegitimacy. Okay, so influential voices, right? So that would not be me, right? You cannot count on me for any kind of color revolution. You need a bigger audience than that, and people that are influential. But I guarantee a Kardashian would be involved. That's for sure. These influential voices in media, academia, government, they'd propagate a narrative that Trump's victory was somehow illegitimate. Okay. Then another telltale sign of a color revolution is they're going to start, and they need symbols for this. They always use symbols and colors. That's why it's called a color revolution, because they always pick a color to do this. So they'll create a recognizable symbol and slogan to unite the opposition and rally public actions. Now, you may remember, like the Black Lives Matter, they had the little cartoon fist, which is the exact same cartoon fist that was used in all kinds of color revolutions in other countries in Eastern Europe and in Africa. The exact same fist. What a coincidence. Anyway, then there will be coordinated protests and civil disobedience, orchestrating widespread protests to demonstrate public dissatisfaction, and then that would be to delegitimize the government. Next, you would have social media and tech influence. They'd be leveraging the social media algorithms and influence to amplify anti-Trump sentiment and suppress any dissent. So that's an important reason to have some alternative social media that would not participate in that. So it's a good thing that X exists. It's a good thing that Rumble exists, so that there are some that are not under the thumb of what could be this color revolution. Then something else. This is a very standard playbook, and this is a playbook, by the way. This is all researched and it's out there. Right? You can read all about it. They're going to provoke a police response and play the victim card. Okay, this is very important. So you could orchestrate a confrontation with law enforcement, like through protests, right? Which you would see often with Antifa. This is one of their standard operating procedures. And then what you do is you carefully film it and craft how it is portrayed as government authoritarianism and government abuse. So you would provoke something, you would get the response, and you would clip it and only show the response. You would get that response online, and kind of amp people up about how Trump's police are being anti-democratic and anti-American, or cracking down on just peaceful protests, right? So you get a lot of that. We'd also see NGOs, international pressure, using reports and statements from international bodies to condemn the U.S. government and apply diplomatic pressure. So we'd see the UN and all kinds of international groups, which are pretty much controlled by the permanent, our intelligence agencies kind of control most international NGOs and whatnot. But then they would put pressure on the U.S. So it would really appear that the whole world is in support of the protests. There'd also be covert influence of intelligence agencies. They leak damaging information to undermine the administration and just put out that it's either incompetent or corrupt or both. We can see this happening. And then eventually, right, the last stage of it is you have to create a sense of inevitability. Okay. So you promote the idea that the government is going to collapse. This Trump government's going to collapse. It's inevitable to demoralize all of his supporters and embolden the opposition. And so what can we do? Right? What can we do about it? Right? Well, we need to, and again, I'm just speculating, folks. Um, you know, there's other news, but it wasn't really that interesting to me today. So I thought this was a fun thing to speculate as we're, a week and a half out from the big day, right? But I think that you should prepare for some kind of civil unrest. Now, I live here in Portland, and believe me, the last, uh, 2020, we had, I think, 120 days, nights straight of protests where they were out destroying the city and lighting fires and causing chaos. 120 days in a row here in Portland. So I'm well aware of what can happen here. So I have enough wood to make it through the winter. I've got plenty of water. I need to stock up on food and whatnot, and I have a generator, a solar generator. So if the power grid goes out, at least I'll be able to keep my fridge on, and I don't know, maybe watch some shows I've downloaded. But so that's how I'm preparing. But I think you also need to prepare a little bit in case this happens. Now, you're probably not in the epicenter of where this kind of nonsense will happen. I am. But what's also important is to stay informed from a diverse sources. Okay, so to counter this propaganda, because that's what a color revolution cannot happen without propaganda, right? You need to have a balanced perspective, and so you can do that by having alternate sources that you trust, so you can find out what's going on. Don't stick to just one platform. You need to be familiar with a couple other platforms just in case. Also, try to have some kind of support system locally. So, meet your neighbors. If you haven't met your neighbors yet, now is a great time. Get their names, find out who they are, get their phone number, get their email. So in case anything goes down, you are able to contact them, and you've made a connection before the chaos happens. Stock up on essentials, because you remember what it was like with COVID, right? We the supply chain, everyone was hoarding toilet paper, right? So get a bidet, right? um, and this is important, and I think this is really important in the coming weeks. Avoid crowded areas where there's protests. Okay, you want to minimize your risk. Have a personal safety plan, yada yada yada. And you can all research this. You're all smart people if you're watching this show and you've made it this far. Something else that you may do once chaos starts, it's a good thing to just kind of journal what's going on, because there's going to be a lot of gaslighting. And even if you just take notes of what you do every day or what happened every day, if you don't do that, you look back and you're not really sure what happened. So I know, like when we went through COVID, there's months that I don't even remember at all. Like I don't even know what I did. And I would have liked to have had some kind of record of the things that I was doing. So anyway, that's just speculation on a Friday about. I wanted to introduce to you this idea of what a color revolution is, the signs of it, and that it could potentially happen. Now, the only way that I see this happening is if Trump wins. This would definitely not happen if Harris won, because the people that perpetrate the color revolutions around the world, they're all on Team Harris. Okay? That would be the permanent DC class. Cheney would probably be part of every single color revolution that's happened, or at least he would be backing every color revolution that our CIA has done. So those are the people that would be in favor of it. So I could only see this happening if Trump was the winner. I obviously hope that doesn't happen, right? I hope that doesn't happen. Now, just for kicks, let's see if this is probably not going to be loud enough. Let's see. Hang on. Tell me if this has music. Oh, damn it. All right, let me try that one more time. I'm sorry. Tell me if we get music on this one. Did you happen to hear music on that? If so, let me know in the comments. And again, I'll be going through all your comments in the after show. So thanks everybody for sticking around. Yeah, you can hear it. Okay, good. So I just wanted to throw out now. I wrote up a little paper on this, and I once again dropped it into Notebook LM to make a little podcast. I'm not going to play the whole podcast, but I will post the whole podcast on X, and I will throw a link to it in the description of this video. It should be up within 20 minutes of that. Yeah, Fact Check Friday. Well, the fact check is that we could have a color revolution. That's a fact. Just speculation here. But here, I just wanted to play the first maybe 2 or 3 minutes of this podcast. And if you're interested in it, you can go listen to the whole 20-minute thing that I put together. It'll be over there on X, but I don't, so let's just check out the first minute or two of it. Okay. Well, can't hear it. I guess it's too low. I will post that over on X if you're interested in hearing it. I think it was a bit interesting. But that's the idea of a color revolution. Have you heard of that term? And were you aware of what they are? This is something that I am very interested in. So I would like to know in the comments, and I will go through all of your comments in the after show. That's as soon as I click the little thing here, and I hope to see you next week, where we'll have all kinds of improvements and even a better show. But anyway, hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Until then, peace. All right. Hey, thanks everybody for the feedback on the sound and whatnot. That means a lot to me. I appreciate that. Okay. Hashtag Rumble Gang Gang. Hashtag Road to 420. Yeah. tricky thing is, I look at I keep hoping that will go up in it. I did get one more follower, so we're up to 315, 315 followers over there on Rumble. So we'll keep going, but come on, 420 for the meme. Let's do it. Hashtag Rumble Creators. Democrats, if you don't vote the way we want, will accuse you of causing us to riot. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. No worries, Tom. I hear there are a few producers looking for a job. They have a few years experience working for Tim Pool. Yes, I did see all of the drama going on with Tim Pool. And but I guess more of a congratulations. I guess he's getting married and having a kid and starting a family, and is not going to work 16 hours a day. So good for him. I always thought he worked too much. So good for him. I hope he can enjoy his success and whatnot. Ox says, I heard the term, but never really knew what it meant. I assume something about spreading democracy. Yeah, it's often used under the guise of spreading democracy. But essentially what it is if there is a regime in a country and they have maybe some natural resources that we want to get at, that, we make sure they get some democracy. So we get somebody else running it so that we, meaning the United States, has access to those natural resources. As an example, look at what's happening right now in Ukraine. Who's going to be doing all the rebuilding of Ukraine? BlackRock? Oh, how about that? Ukraine has lots of mineral deposits. Yeah. Wonder where the contracts and all those went to. Yes, American multinational corporations. So basically, that's what color revolutions are. It's what they found is that it's easier to overthrow a country by taking control of the media, propagandizing the people, to do it that way than it is to roll tanks in and blow everything up. So this is a way. This is like a modern warfare. This is a technique of just regime change in countries without technically going to war, but just being really underhanded and tricking the people into it. Like, I believe that the people in Ukraine weren't aware that they were being duped by our intelligence agencies into demanding and standing up for democracy, right? I don't believe that that's the case. I believe they were duped. That's my opinion on it. So yeah, let's see what else. The gulag is going to be lit. We'll be scratching memes into the wall. That's true. Wait, Trump isn't in office right now, and it didn't stop them from rioting, and they're in office now. What makes you think they'll stop with 4 more years? It didn't stop the last 4. That's true, but I'm talking about a total chaos, total civil unrest. Basically, the George Floyd summer love times 10, right? That's what we're talking about. And it's a way just to take all power away from someone they can't control, so yeah. Democrats took over Portland, and the Dems are in charge. They will riot more and keep getting let out of jail. There's nothing stopping them. That's kind of how it happens, right? It's a lot easier. Like, you couldn't pull off what happened in Portland unless you had a prosecutor that was paid for by, I don't know, someone with a 2-syllable, 5-letter last name, billionaire, with the intent on not keeping anyone in in jail. So if you incentivize people, if you let them know, hey, if we arrest you for rioting, we're just going to let you out, and it's no big deal, and we'll have people to pay for your bail, and we'll get you out, no big deal. That's like, that wouldn't go down in a city that were run by like a legitimate local government. But we didn't have that here in Portland. We didn't have a legitimate. We had leadership that was bought off by international. Yeah. But anyway, so we have an election on election day here, and hopefully we'll have a new mayor in Portland. That things might be different, and we might have a new DA as well. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But anyway, that's what a color revolution is. I think it's a fascinating topic. There are not a whole lot of books written about color revolutions, and from what I've seen, there are no books written that are actually critical of color revolutions. They're all written from the point of view that the color revolution is a good thing. But to me, they're probably the least democratic thing that you could do, because you can't win, right? What happens is the people want a certain leader, but that leader doesn't go along with the United States or the international order or whatever. And so that's unacceptable, right? That's unacceptable to the international order, the new world order, the American-led team of countries. And so they have to be overthrown. It's kind of the opposite of democracy, right? And those are called color revolutions. But anyway, that's I just wanted to share an idea that maybe you hadn't heard about or didn't know a whole lot about. So that's kind of your introduction to them, just a very primer introduction to what a color revolution is. Anyway, on Monday, I'll have something fun and exciting, and we can talk more, get more back into the horse race of who's going to be president. But until then, I hope you have an awesome weekend. Peace.